You're at a job interview. You get the "what is your biggest weakness?" question. What is your answer? Terrified at public speaking is usually the one I go with. It's fairly relatable but easy to brush off by saying I get past it through practice. It also has the benefit of being true. The year is 2015 and I'm interviewing for my first job at an unnamed game studio. I'm super nervous. I did the pre-interview tests and they liked them. And I get the question. I get really nervous and I talk a lot and ramble. It's pretty much word vomit until my brain catches up with my mouth until I catch up with what I just said, and most of the time I can't really remember the question. It got a lot of laughs in the room but I really couldn't remember at the time what the director just asked me. I usually approach it honestly. I'm super hard on myself to the point that it can be counterproductive. So I typically don't need a lot of coaching when I fuck up but I need to be reminded to move on. You up. I work with a company who loved that about me, then 3 years into training they decided to switch gears into quantity over quality and it's really ducked me up. What industry are you in? Did the change come because of new management or something? Long story short, they took on a few new outlets of making money, before they had the A equipment B knowledge C workforce. It's a very atypical landscaping company, in reality it's high-end landscape design, and shrub/plant/tree maintenance. Our bread and butter customers are extremely wealthy and very particular. They expect to be catered to, and that's how I was trained and that's what the company was pitched to me as, cause that's how it has run since '96. There's honestly a million things I could write here. Doesn't really matter too much since I'm planning on starting my own business in the next 3 to 5 years. I sing in the shower. Sometimes I spend too much time volunteering. Occasionally I'll hit somebody with my car. Meanwhile you are fighting for the cure of the bat disease. My answer to that question at the local ice cream parlor was my biggest weakness is chocolate. I got the job. And a free scoop of chocolate ice cream every day I worked there. Edit, thanks for the award. My old roommate tried that for a desk job once. She said the interviewer gave her a blank stare, quietly wrote something down, then continued with the interview. She didn't get the job. Wouldn't want to work with someone so dry anyway. It's a bad interview question, but if the person interviewing you asks you something you should at least try to answer it. Dodging it isn't a good look. Maybe use it as a joke to transition into your answer like, what's your biggest weakness? Chocolate. Haha, no but seriously probably the drinking. Hand them a quality business card that says I over-prepare. That says you work at the place you're applying to. With a full photo ID and registration number. And then follow with your 2 weeks notice. Because, let's face it, this was just a stepping stone. At a board interview, they asked me this. I told them my biggest weakness is one that I'm conquering right now, fear to take chances and risk failure. But I'm taking a huge chance today, and refusing to let myself consider failure. I got the job. This might only be applicable to someone newly out of college or applying for entry-level jobs, but I had a professor tell me to say lack of experience. If you're applying for an intro-level job it's expected, it's a weakness that's not really your fault, and you can spin it as a reason you should get the job. I do this. I always say well since I'm still a student, lack of practical experience in this field. Most of my knowledge is theoretical from class, however I am excited/motivated to apply what I learned in class to the real world. Always something that can be turned into a positive, smiley face. This is great, thank you. No problem. Another good one is, whenever they ask why do you want to work here? I always research before certain things the company does that are special or tied to their mission. So for example if a company volunteers and donates every Christmas or they have a leadership program for women. I always weave it into my answer by saying something along the lines of, when I apply for jobs I always try to look for companies like ABC Corporation who support values that are important to me. For example, I know that ABC Corp volunteers and donates every holiday season to the Children's Hospital. And volunteering is something that I cherish because I believe in giving back. Or, I would love the opportunity to work for a company like ABC Corporation because your values are aligned with my own. For example, I know that you. Basically this is a good way to slip in that you did your research on the company and they always love this kind of answer because it shows a human side and lets them learn about you as a person. I'm terrible at interviews got me my job. I'm going to try that but I feel like they'd say haha no but seriously though. Then you say, I am serious. And stare at him with a blank expression in dead silence, thus proving your claim. Power move. My current job I said. That's a pretty tough question for me, I like to work on something when someone points it out as a weakness so I don't tend to have a really strong weakness that I notice. Can we come back to this question and I'll think on it in the meantime? Either he liked that answer enough or just forgot to ask again because we didn't go back. Edit. And for anyone wondering, I was just hoping to remember what I had googled the day before. My real weakness is going to be being a semi-perfectionist, which sounds like a canned answer. I'll sometimes spend too long trying to make something perfect when it doesn't have to be. Honest answer followed by how you're improving. I tend to procrastinate, but I keep that at bay by sticking to a to-do list, etc. My last job had very vague to-do lists. They were pretty much the same thing every shift. Stock X department, check dates, rotate stock, fill balloon corral, etc. So in an interview I just used that as an example for staying on task. Then they hit me with, well, how do you make sure you do things on your list? My dumb ass was like, I'm not really sure what you're asking. Just, do it. Interviewer, what is your greatest weakness? Me, answering the semantics of a question while ignoring the pragmatics provided by the context. Interviewer, interesting. Could you give me an example? Me, yes. My usual go-to is that I have had difficulty with taking criticisms personally, especially against me when in a leadership role. I then follow up with talking about how I'm working on it and feel I've improved as I've taken on roles with more responsibility. It is an annoying question, but if you can find something to talk about honestly, and also explain how you are working to improve it, you're golden. I have difficulty taking criticisms personally. Sounds like something you might want to work on. You know what? Fuck you. The back of my neck is extremely sensitive. If someone were to grab me by my neck and dig their nails in, I'd most likely pass out, therefore making it easier for someone to steal items. What? Yeah, it sucks. One of my friends forgot this and she hugged me, and when she placed her hand on the back of my neck my knees felt like they were going to give out. To clarify why this happens. I have an abnormal amount of nerve endings around the rear base of my neck. Enough where I can feel someone breathing on my neck that's about a foot away. I've gotten used to my hair touching my neck, but any source of touching other than my own hair will set off my nerves. Well, I'd say my weakness is the cause of me getting fired from my last 8 jobs. I bring in too many turtles apparently. I don't know how many the right amount of turtles is because I've brought anywhere from 50 up to 300. It seems unreasonable to bring less than 50, so I just don't get it. I would be honest during my interview about how many turtles I plan to bring to work with me and let loose in the facility, but they never ask. What about you guys? How many turtles do you guys bring to not get fired?